Alrighty, welcome into Chalk Talk Social. It is Friday, December 5th. If you're watching the show, Iman looks a little different today in the form of it's Joey on the co-host seat today. Iman's running late with stuff, so Joey's filling in for a bit with our fan interview. We're going to be talking to a Seahawks fan today, covering some NFL and NBA on the Newsdesk, talking, of course, Chris Paul getting dropped, what is going on there. Giannis rumors start swirling again, and I'm already pissed about it. But then almost immediately as Shams, who just seems desperate. Shams just seems so desperate for a Giannis trade. It's like his whole life and salary depend on a Giannis trade happening. Well, as soon as it all comes out, Giannis goes down with a non-contact injury versus the Pistons. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks. As a Bucks fan, maybe that's best case, I guess, for now. Maybe it's worse. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but again, the Giannis rumors are swirling. I'm pre-annoyed about it already because we do this all the time, every freaking year for the last 7-8 years. But Joey, what's going on, man? How are you doing today?
I'm good. The Bears are still 9-3, so that makes me happy.
For now, yes.
For now, yes. I know we got our rivalry this weekend, which I'm stoked for. But no, all is good in Joey world. I can't do a big there it is or about my money, about my biz. I got to come up with my own new intro for myself. I don't have the swag Iman does, but all is good.
Very few do. I mean, to be funny, I was wishing he was gonna be on so I could tell him this. So we do this thing at work, and we were shouting out people, and it was my turn to shout out a rookie of the quarter for our sales team, and I get onto the mic and I was like, out here we're about our money, we're about our business, and so I had to drop it on the whole company. I got a good laugh.
I hope they love that.
Oh, yeah, no, the people
or
appreciate
kicked you out of the room
it.
Immediately. One of the two.
Nope. It was well received. So shout out Iman on the catch line on that one is good. Good punchline there. Everybody loves that one. So yeah, Iman's out for today, but let's get into it. It's going to be our very first Seattle Seahawks fan on the show. It's crazy it took us this long, given that I'm in Seattle and I'm around Seahawks fans all day long. But let's bring on our Seahawks fan for the show today. We got Connor. Connor, let's get on the stage for a little bit. Connor, how we doing, man? In the DK jersey. Yeah.
Here, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Connor, I caught your stuff. You've been making some content. I found out you're a big Seahawks fan that way. So I figured who better to have a conversation with. It seems like you're very passionate about the teams. Like I said, still repping the old DK jersey, even though he's gone. Have to. I love it, man. Well, I mean, it's been a great season for the Seahawks. I'm not sure, as a Packers fan, something I said way earlier on in the season is it felt like the Seahawks and the Packers are having inverse type of seasons that everyone thought they would have going into the year. Packers are playing how the people thought the Seahawks would be and vice versa. So as a Seahawks fan, man, we ask our fan guests this all the time to kick it off. What's the pulse across the fan base? What are folks talking about? How are they feeling?
Man, I mean, as a Seahawks fan, my whole life, even the year before last, with Pete Carroll, it was our defense was crumbling. But this year, we got a new coach. We starting off fresh. We got Sam Darnold. I personally was excited for Sam Darnold because I don't know why you wouldn't be excited for a quarterback, that went 21-7 over his past couple games. And I just don't see any issue as to why anybody would be, scared about that, even though his past games were shaky against the Rams. Mm-hmm. But me personally, I was so excited for our defense and our offense, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah. Both the defense has been kicking everybody's ass. That defensive front is awesome. Reek Woolen's been playing great football. What's his face? The rookie. I forget his name because it's such the safety.
Man,
Eamon Worry, big fella. Sure. Oh, I loved him in the draft process. I'm blanking on his name, but let's get right into it then. Everyone's feeling good. Y'all got a quarterback. Y'all got a top receiver in football. The run game, despite the dogs, I think they combined for just about 100 yards last game. Has not been much this year. One of the lower rated run games in football. But what do you feel like is the ultimate strength of? Let's start on the defense. What's the ultimate strength? They're good at each level. What's the best one?
Man, how could you not talk about the front four? Mm-hmm. That's what we've been passionate about this year, as you can see. I was super excited. I feel like the most underrated pickup was DeMarcus Lawrence on the line. If you see, he's not really on the stat sheet too much, but man, if you watch him in game, he's just a game changer. And last game, on that fumble that he caused, he plays through the whistle every play, and I respect that heavily. But the defensive line is absolute game changer with 26.6 is our 28.6 pressure rate, which is, insane when you're sending the lowest amount of pressure in the league. So
That's what I was going to say. Like, you're blitzing at a league low. You have the most pressures in football. And like DeMarcus Lawrence, he's tied. I think it kind of dates back to more of late November. But at one point, he was tied for first in pressures per game with 3 pressures per game. Like, he's had such a career resurgence after a little dip with Dallas. Now that he's in Seattle, I mean, it's looking like an absolute steal at this point. But I think he's like playing on $14 million a year right now, and he's definitely producing way above $14 million.
way above.
And he's still the only player in the NFL with 2 forced fumbles for a touchdown. I mean, come on.
Incredible, exactly. And I think it really comes from a scheme perspective too. If you look, we run a 4-2-5 for the most part with Eman Wari playing, almost like it's like a hybrid almost,
Mm-hmm.
And the plays that he makes in the run game is just incredible, and that's a big reason why we can play the run so well.
And that's what
and the pass.
That's what I loved about Eman Wari coming out too. I was saying, like, when I was breaking him down, I was like, he reminds me of Owusu Koromoro, I think is how you say his name, on the Browns, that linebacker, like, who can, like, you can definitely put him in the box and you can ask him to cover the safeties. You can ask him to cover the running backs. He's going to come up and hit you in the mouth, but he's also effective in like zone coverage. He just reminds me of that type of player where he's an asset in run defense, pass defense, and just a freak specimen of an athlete to really seal the whole thing. Obviously, Ernest Jones just had himself a great game. Brian Young, right? I always get the messed up. Brian and Byron Young. It's Brian Young, right?
Oh yeah,
Byron Murphy, not Young. Yeah, he's a freaking dog next to already an All-Pro and Leonard Williams. So,
absolutely,
man, y'all got it going right now. Okay,
we do have it going. Yes, sir.
Joy,
so is there a name for this group now? You had a Legion of Boom before in your DB room with Sherman. Is this front four having a new name in Seattle?
Man, I heard D-Law say something about lights out. It is truly lights out in Seattle, if you can tell. And it's just incredible. And I think that's why I feel like a lot of people put, too much pressure on Darnold. I mean, we control games with our defense every game. And even against the Rams, 4 picks, but we're still in the game. And that's just mainly because of our defense. So I don't see any issues going forward. The worst of the worst is what Darnold played against the Rams. So if he does, slightly better, he throws 1 less pick, that's a game we can win. So
how does this offense get back on track for Seattle? Last 3 or 4 weeks has been kind of up and down. Darnold, we've been talking a lot about him on this show because I'm in Chicago, so I'm close to the Vikings, and how they made, the big mistake letting him go, but then he had a tough end of the season. Here now in Seattle is making this team great, but has those flaws that still sneak in there. What is the key for this offense in your mind to kind of get back on track as you make a playoff push?
I mean, a big part of my page, and I'm sure everybody will laugh at this, is Anthony Bradford criticism. I think Anthony Bradford is a huge weak spot on our team, especially when you can just look up highlights of Anthony Bradford and it's just crumbling. It's just, it's not what you want to see. And, when you look at our line right now, we have Zabel, and he's been playing out of his mind for a first round pick.
Oh, yeah.
Cross is breaking out. And Lucas, we just gave him a contract and he's playing really well too. And even Sundell, our center, before he got hurt, he was playing very effectively, And I just think, Anthony Bradford's PFF rating is almost like a 48, I think, around there.
It's not good.
And it's pathetic. And you can look at his, his plays where he plays the run well, or, he helps on double teams. But there's just the lowlights are absolutely awful, Like all these highlights you see on, on media, it's awful. Like you see that play and you say, how is he, in the NFL? So that's my biggest weakness. But overall, I feel like Darnold is getting pressured, as you've seen in the Vikings game. He handles pressure well to an extent, but it gets to a point where we can't just, look for JSN deep every play. We got to chip it down. We got to, get the run game going. And that's where we're lacking right now. So we need to pick that up for sure.
Yeah. They just been spamming the JSN button to all hell. Like Shaheed has come over and done absolutely nothing. I think his best game with y'all, he's got like 3 catches maybe, but so he hasn't really existed in the offense yet, which is, again, shocking to me. Torrey Horton hits the shelf. You would expect, Shaheed's going to be a big focal point of this offense after that, trade deadline move that is like, oh, this is like put us over the top. We're going to be even more dominant of a downfield passer. But it seems ever since he's come into the mix that like Sam Darnold starting to waver the last 3 to 4 weeks, the offense has been a little shakier. Is there like any, let's say we're on a panic meter. Is there any panic meter with the Seahawks offense, knowing that the run game has graded out pretty low all season as a run blocking unit and just running efficiency in general? And now the last 3-4 weeks, we've seen the passing game and offense and Darnold all grade out kind of low, as well as they're facing a little bit stiffer competition. Is there any panic meter with the Seahawks offense?
If I were to give a panic meter, I would say around a 4.
4 out of 100 or 4 out of 10?
4 out of 10.
Oh, bad.
4 out of 10. I feel like in the beginning of the season, we ran a lot of 12 personnel. And the 2 tight end sets are huge when you're playing against, 3 backers. And that's what was mainly getting, JSN open. And since then, we've played tough competition, especially since Shaheed has come in. We played the Rams and the Vikings, and the Vikings have a great defense. So it's just...
Well, isn't that concerning? They're not really showing up against the best defenses, because that's what they're going to get in the playoffs.
It is concerning, but then you look at the score and see 26-0. It's just we're the most complete team, We can have bad games on offense, but our defense is smothering. We get the ball at the midfield,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have the best offense in the league when you get the ball at midfield.
That's true.
And so that's what I think is very powerful about our team. Our special teams unit is very efficient this year.
Jason Myers is kicking ass and footballs,
Yeah.
but ass and footballs. He's doing great. I think he's killing it right now.
He is. And the main issue as to why it's not a 1 out of 10 is it just depends on Darnold. I've said this, you can blame the offensive line, you can blame the scheme, you can, blame what's coming at you, but at the end of the day, you're the quarterback for a reason, You have to make plays when they need to be made. And so I wholeheartedly believe, Seahawks fan and all, that Sam Darnold can take us all the way if he plays a normal game, It doesn't have to
That's
be
all we ask.
a great game. That's all we ask is a normal game. So that's where I'm at right now with the Seahawks.
You talked about it being a complete team. Do you feel like they're kind of underrated or under talked about? I feel like every time I hear about, NFC West teams, we're talking about the Rams, we're talking about the Niners, and they're the marquee matchups. But here are the Seahawks right there playing damn good football and need some more love.
I think we appreciate it how it is. It's never been a spotlight thing. Even going back to Tariq Woolen and Kenneth Walker rookie year when they didn't win the rookie of the year. That's just how it goes in Seattle, But we keep a chip on our shoulder and we keep pushing. That's why I respect and love this team to the end of time. That's what it's going to be. Always underdogs, and I love that about this team.
I love that's a true fan right there. Just go stand by his boys, and no matter what, thick and thin, can't leave him. I love that. I think we kind of touch on this. What could potentially hurt this team down the stretch is Sam Darnold under pressure, making mistakes that we know Sam Darnold is prone to doing. Let's all recall the seeing ghosts meme of Sam Darnold, the New York Jets. So what's kind of the recipe, though, for the Seahawks to potentially win it all? What has to go right? I'm assuming it's Sam Darnold doesn't turn the football over.
That's, when you look at it on paper, that's where it lies. But there was an interview post game with Ernest Jones talking about, and somebody asked him about Sam Darnold. And what I really loved about this team as a whole is that they stick up for their guy. Regardless of how they play, Ernest Jones goes, he's carried us through every game. He's been there when we needed him most. And that's what I respect, and that's how I know we're a family rather than how Sam Darnold was in the Vikings, kind of just fresh off the bench. Mm-hmm. And so that's why that's all I think is the recipe is playing together rather than playing separately, which I felt like was a big mistake in Minnesota.
Yeah. What's I guess kind of last thing for me then is, regardless of what happens this year, they obviously made the move they had to make to get the offensive line. Zabel's a dog. That was always the right pick for them. That was the pick I wanted for them. The whole draft process was Gray Zabel. Just felt right. And I love that they got him. The defense is in a great spot. What's the offseason wish list this year, knowing you're going to get Torrey Horton back? Is he out for the year, or is he on IR, right?
Yeah, he's on IR. Hopeful
So
for sure.
he'll probably come back for late, but so assuming, I think long term, that's your number 2 guy. I was blown away that he dropped in the draft. That was a second round prospect at worst, that had he not got hurt, we're not talking about him where he got drafted. We're talking about him in the second round, most likely,
Right.
because you watch any tape of him in college and you're like, holy shit, get that guy on my football team. So I'm still shocked he dropped. So what's the offseason wish list going into next year, regardless of what happens?
Man, it's funny you say that because I really am not sure based on how Sam Darnold plays in the playoffs because, if it goes, how it went last time, what do you do in that situation? Because if you look at our record, we beat some decent. Timing is important, but we beat the Cardinals when they were doing, decent. We beat the Jazz when they were doing decent. But every game we've lost is to a good team. And so that's what makes me a little bit nervous going into the playoffs because we lost against the Rams, the Niners, the Bucks. These are all playoff teams that we need to play well against to make the Super Bowl in general, So situation plays a big. I mean, I'm sure he'll in the draft, man. I'm thinking we get a corner. There are some, the guy from Clemson's really nice. I'm gonna get deep into it when the season's over. That's when
Avion Williams.
Williams, yes.
Yeah, he's a ball
Williams
player.
is
He's
good.
tough.
Man, we need a guard. Oh my gosh, like Bradford has to go. That's the only wish I have on my list by far. Is Bradford got to go?
You bulk up that O-line. You keep Sam Darnold clean, no pressure, and when Sam Darnold's clean in the pocket, he's gonna ball with the best of them. As soon as you start getting dudes in his grill, is when we start seeing the Sam Darnold experience kind of come out a little bit. But I like that assessment. Go get yourself. The defense. I don't even think you need to touch defense for a little bit. I mean,
I was thinking about linebacker, but man, Drake Thomas, he's a baller right now. He's emerged and he took Tyrese Knight's spot.
You know what?
Oh my gosh, you turn on tape and he's just a beast.
I don't know why. Now we're talking linebacker. I just got this image in my head that Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech linebacker, potential Heisman candidate. I could see him in a Seahawks uniform. I could see it, and it looks good.
And that's the main reason why I really love the Mike Macdonald move, because you can give him anybody and he's making plays. As you've seen with Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe is playing, really well, and he got cut from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it goes. And that's just how he makes ball players like Drake Thomas. That's just how it goes.
I guess now that we've talked about that, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of defensive head coaches in an offensive league. It's working, but writing's on the wall. Kubiak's going to be gone pretty soon here. Kubiak's probably gone this offseason. Do y'all have someone in-house? Do you got your eye on anyone? Is the fan base talking about anyone as a potential Kubiak replacement? Because we know it's coming.
Man, I've been hiding under the water, man. I hate to see him leave. I hate to see him go. The plays that we've made, especially last year when we had Grubb, we were in 5 wide almost, like every other down. It felt like it was tough to watch. Kenneth Walker wasn't improving. That's not a scheme for a star player on your team. That's not what you do with a player like that. And I'm just so happy to see that we're converting on second down and we're not getting to 3rd and 10, That's not, and as you've seen, Sam Darnold on 3rd and 10 is not playing well. And that's where I feel like this scheme is really helping out. Sam Darnold doesn't have a lot on his back. And when he does, that's where you see the fall off,
So who you bringing in when Kubiak gets hired somewhere else?
I don't even want to think about it, man. That sounds horrible. I just hate to see him leave.
It's going to happen. I mean, hopefully they're going to have to get it right, because when you got a defensive head coach, man, you got to nail the offensive coordinator position. You got to nail it, and that's hard to do. I mean, the Ben Johnsons don't just grow on trees. You got to get a guy who's coming through the ranks like a Kubiak, who was there in Minnesota when Kirk Cousins was having great years, who was there as a pass game coordinator for the Rams, and now he's there with y'all doing his thing, like someone who's kind of climbing up. That's who you're going to have to find, but it might be a guy who's never called an offense before, and that's terrifying, and that can set you back. So a big decision. Y'all trust Schneider, by the way? You still a Schneider believer after all these years?
I am, and you know why? I feel like it's not Schneider working with Carroll anymore as like a dog almost. I feel like it's more of a team, organization.
I like it,
and I really, it sounds terrifying, first year offensive coordinator or, just picking up somebody different. But I don't really feel that when Mike McDonald gives us the ball. Even in the Rams game, oh my gosh, just three and outs, over and over. The chances we had were there was no reason we should have lost that game. But that's only because of how impressive our defense was playing. So regardless of who we hire, it's going to be up to the players now. That's all it is.
Respect. All right, Joe, you got anything else?
I was going to say, I know you're probably biased, but is JSN your top receiver in the league right now?
I don't see how you could have anyone else over. The separation, the savviness, you can almost tell when he just knows when to break, when the eyes are off of him, And even when Darnold's rolling out, he finds a soft spot. It's kind of like Tyler Lockett does, And the playmaking is, rookie level, DK level.
It's
so
crazy.
I don't see.
It's unreal to watch him play, and they have one of the lower rated passing offenses in the league. And you think about that, like with Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, and it's like tough situation, make it good. Minnesota can't get out of their own way, and here in Seattle, he is a star. Like he's jumping up those boards.
And that's another reason why I feel like 12 personnel is so valuable on our team, because we have Barner, a playmaker, at tight end. We have Arroyo at tight end. These are vertical stretchers on the field, And that's just, you got to respect the pass even when we're in 12 personnel. And in 12 personnel, most of the time, we're booting. And Jackson Smith is left one-on-one anyway. You can't leave a receiver like that one-on-one, And the only person I've seen that's got the natural, like he's just him, is Pickens. Pickens just makes plays that's incredible this year. And Malik before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I see the argument for JSN, like the top receiver in football this year. And I still struggle to be like, okay, well, what has he done that Justin Jefferson hasn't done or can't do? What has he done to like be like separate, like I'm above Jettas now? Because let's be honest, you put Jettas in this offense, what we know what we're talking about if JJ's in this and pretty much any other offense besides like the Titans and the Vikings, who managed to make him irrelevant. Because I think JSN, though, I mean, me and Iman, when we talked about this, we said, I think it's a coin flip between JSN and Chase. Well, we're still putting Jettas above him because like we haven't seen JSN do anything that we haven't seen Jefferson do, if that makes sense. And I think Jefferson's got him a little bit on size. But yeah, I think he's right there. I think we're going to start next year saying like, I think it's Jefferson, JSN 1, 2, Chase 3, 4.
I mean, the main reason as to why I have Jefferson slightly over JSN is because Jefferson makes plays that nobody else makes. Like if you look back at the Bills game with that one hander, it's things like that. That's just
elite.
Oh my gosh, impressive.
Different echelon.
Elite, exactly. And, but the one thing I feel that separates JSN is he excels when he gets the ball, There's no amount of pressure that JSN hasn't, reached. And, same as Jefferson, but this scheme is just so perfect for him. And you could say Jets or Justin Jefferson might, be right there with him. But I don't know. I feel like JSN's style and savviness is, just a little different style as Justin Jefferson's like, vertical stretch.
Yeah, well, I'll always hold a place of anger and frustration in my heart because the Packers decided to pass on JSN when we needed a wide receiver most. So I'll never forget that.
I hate to see him. They don't like wide receivers there.
Yeah, no, I hate to see JSN doing good for that very reason. I needed him to be bad. I really needed him to be bad to make me okay with passing on him in the draft. But yeah, he's
even worse since Golden's not there yet.
Since who?
Matthew Golden's not.
He's going to come up later in the episode because he is getting criminally underused in the Packers offense. And now it's just like, and then he got hurt. And it's resulted in him in like, being one of the busts of this draft. So one of the flops of this year, at least as a rookie, when you consider the, being the first receiver of the Packers draft in the first round in 20 plus years. It just freaking hurts, man. Freaking hurts. But all right, Connor, I appreciate it. And we'll do this one for Iman. Iman always asks top 5 Seahawks. Put them down. Who you got?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for this one. I have Russ at 1. Russ is my favorite player of all time. And then I have Cam Chancellor second.
Love it.
Sherman at 3. And then I got JSN at 4 right now.
Already?
Man, JSN. I can't. I love JSN so much. And then, man, at 5, I could go recent and say Eman Worry, but I'm gonna keep it old school. I really like I like Cliff Averill a lot. Old school, throwback.
It was a fun time.
I like Cliff Averill a lot. He's a beast.
He's a fun
that's
time. Honestly, a little surprised Bennett didn't come up.
I was gonna say Bennett was a toss-up between Bennett and Averill.
Those are two fair ones, man. I seen Cliff Averill walk into the gym we go to in Bellevue sometimes. That's a big ass boy.
So jealous. I miss Seattle so much.
I mean, dude, we were at the gym and saw Bobby Wagner walk in, and that's another guy I think. Oh my God, Bobby Wagner's prime in Seattle was freaky stuff. Bobby Wagner walks past, and like, oh my, I can't imagine meeting that dude in an A gap. Would be terrifying for anybody. Huge, wide some bitch. But all right, that's all I got. Connor, thank you so much for making the time. Again, I know you've been making stuff on TikTok. Why don't you shout out where people can watch your content or follow your fandom?
Man, if you guys want to see the Anthony Bradford hate watch, it's Conman2X on TikTok, and for Seahawks content, there's that as well.
Awesome, dude. Well, great talking to you. Great Seahawks talk, man. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Good luck the rest of the season for your birds.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
See you, man. All right. I mean, hey, good chat. Good first Seahawks chat. Good football team, man. I'm losing a little bit of lust and confidence behind the Seahawks, but again, when you got that defense, it's like the Texans, and why I think the Texans have a chance. We'll get into it about AFC talk, but like why the Texans have a real chance of still winning the AFC South. Also, the same reason why the Seahawks still have a chance to win the NFC West, despite the Rams. I'm not buying the 49ers. I'm sorry. I can't trust Brock try to do too much Purdy. I think the Rams will still win, but I think the Seahawks are obviously still going to make the playoffs pretty easily, handedly. I don't know when I'm thinking about the NFC playoff picture. Bears, Packers. Who will Sam Darnold really have problems with in terms of facing pressure? Besides, I think the Packers would force Sam Darnold into some mistakes. I think facing the Rams was going to force, as we know, Sam Darnold into mistakes. But at the same point, the Seahawks really could have won that game with the Rams. They almost won despite the 4 turnovers. So I'm trying to think like who would really give Darnold enough fits in like the playoffs. The Eagles,
if they're healthy, maybe.
I'm so out on the Eagles right now. I mean, if the Cowboys make it, like I'm not too worried about that one. The Vikings have no chance. The Commanders have no chance. I mean,
even the Bears have no pass rush. They have the most interceptions in the league, but they have no pass rush.
Nothing. I mean, you think of the NFC South, like nothing about those. I mean, the Falcons, I don't even think they're going to make it at this point because they had a really good defense to start the year. Panthers don't scare. So Sam Darnold, unless he faces the Packers or the Rams in the playoffs, it seems like the Seahawks ceiling is so high.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the nature of like he might not be under the worst type of pressure. They should be able to handle it. When we see him cooking and operating, when he's got a clean pocket, it's the Seahawks offense is going to murder you.
Yes.
It's that simple. So I mean, I personally don't want the Packers to play the Seahawks in the playoffs. I know my Packers too well that they're always going to be prone to shooting ourselves in the foot. I need the Packers to have the most favorable possible matchup in the playoffs, and I just don't see the Seahawks as that for them necessarily right now. I still think we'd win. I just don't want to see that game. I'd like to not remove a few years off my life, but I don't know. Seahawks, good team, good conversation, loved it. But Joey, why don't we get straight into the news desk? What do we got to kick this thing off this week?
Kicking off the news desk, we're sticking in the NFL, and we're going with draft steals. A lot of rookies making an impact this year across the league. Who are we thinking is the steal of the draft that's making that massive impact for 2025?
Well, I mean, I think the options are pretty clear here. If we're going to narrow it down to 5 guys, Kyle Monangai, obviously, I think he's going to come up on the top of everyone's board. 7th round pick. He's dominating. Torrey Horton is another one for me, a 5th round pick. As I said to the Seahawks fan, he had no business going in the 5th round. His talent is way higher than 5th round picks. So, and granted, the IR, he's not seen much, but Oronde Gadsden, tight end, Chargers, 5th round picks, another good name. Chimere Dike, 4th round pick for the Titans, like going to be an all-pro special teamer as a rookie, potentially set the records for all-purpose yards in a season. And then, of course, Cam Scadaboo in the 4th round. Let's keep it 4th to 7th round. I think that's fair. 3rd rounders, we're not calling you steals if you're a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick, even if you are performing way higher than your draft stock. So I think those are kind of the 5 guys. Joey, why don't you just tell us? We know who you're picking. Let you give the argument for Kyle Monangai. That's your guy. I'll let you position the argument why he's the steal of the draft.
Kyle Monangai was in training camp everyone's darling that had no chance of seeing the field. That's how this started, where you had DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, and then Kyle Monangai, where he's a great story, 7th round pick. Everyone loves him out in Hallis Hall. And then suddenly he's needed. And Roschon Johnson gets hurt and then kind of falls into the doghouse. And he comes in and dominates. And it's amazing to see with the 7th round pick. That's the biggest takeaway, right? It's not like it's a 3rd round guy, a 2nd round guy that is excelling. It is a last round of the draft guy that is impacting. And I know this offensive line is a main reason why he's playing as well as he is. But he is having great vision on the field. He's waiting for his block. He's understanding his assignments. And he's taken to this playbook with Ben Johnson. And for Johnson to trust him in this offense this early says everything about the kind of player he is, that he's committed himself to really being at least a number 1 back for a couple weeks and then a great 1-2 punch with Swift. So it's an easy pick for me, but I know I'm between him and probably Scadaboo if he stayed healthy. But yeah. I gotta stick with my guy Monangai because I think there's like I said last week, a revolution again happening with running backs in this league. And when a top offensive mind like Ben Johnson is now the steward of one of the best running games in the league, that means that everyone else is going to follow suit. And you're seeing it across the board.
Yeah. I mean, I can't blame you. I think this one's pretty clear. I mean, look, again, like we talked about last episode, outpacing Ashton Genty at this point. First running back, top 10 pick. Like, he has 1.4 yards per carry more than Genty. He's got one more rushing touchdown than Genty.
The Bears were going to trade up for Genty. That's what I was yelling. I'm like, you got to trade up to get Genty.
Yeah, I was terrified. I was about to jump off a roof if they traded up for Genty, but turns out my problem was in the 7th round.
Yeah,
drafting Monangai.
Got to fix your draft stock.
Apparently, only rookie running back this year with multiple 100-yard rushing games, and the last 2 weeks he's taken over the Bears' backfield more with carry. He's getting more looks than DeAndre Swift, which I can't blame him. He looks so explosive and just. Man, gritty ball player. I love him. So I think it's pretty clear Monangai is probably going to go down as everyone's steal of the draft this year, rightfully so. So how about this? Let's focus on who's number 2, because I think there's good arguments to go around. Again, we can start with Torrey Horton. He's on IR now, which is unfortunate. Has not been getting many looks, which is crazy to me because what he's done with his looks has been 13 catches, 161 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's got the 95-yard return touchdown. He's just been incredible on very limited targets in a Seahawks offense that is just spamming the JSN button. So he gets kind of left out. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is there taking things away. Again, I don't believe he had any business dropping to the later rounds of the draft. And I believe it was purely based on his injury history because the tape says that is a 2nd round pick. Worst. And he was a love of mine for the Packers. Bummed we didn't get him, but obviously got Matthew Golden, so that's fine. Another guy on the list, like we mentioned, Orlando Gadsden Jr., 5th round pick, tight end. He got injured halfway through week 10 this year. And then, of course, this last game, Justin Herbert's playing with the broken hand. That didn't help him get any type of look. So he's kind of struggled the last few weeks now. But you take away those 2 performances, he's averaging 5 targets in every game. He is averaging 83 yards per game. And fantasy-wise, averaging over 15 points in fantasy since week 6. So he's been a weapon on the fantasy. He's been a weapon on the field. And he had that 164-yard game against the Colts, which is the most yards for a rookie tight end since 1985. A yak machine. So I think he's got a good argument because we're talking long-term. That's the Chargers tight end long-term. I think they got the guy. Obviously, his dad played in the league. But another guy, Chimere Dike, 4th round pick, Titans. Currently pacing to set the NFL single season record for all-purpose yards. Around 2,700 yards. The record is 2,696 yards right now. He leads the NFL in all-purpose yards. And granted, most of it's from his return duties, but he's been a valuable receiver now for the Titans in the last, good amount of weeks. But the last time a rookie led the NFL in all-purpose yards, Mr. Saquon Barkley in 2018. So, hey, that's good company to be in. And let's not act like, 26 yards per punt return with 2 touchdowns is not going to get him as an all-pro as a rookie. He's going to be an all-pro as a rookie. It's special teams, but that still means a lot. You win or lose ball games sometimes off special teams. So that's an argument for him, the all-pro status that he's going to get. And then, like you said, Cam Scatterbo, 4th-round pick, only 8 games before the injury, but he had 617 total yards, 7 total touchdowns. 5 of those were on the ground. His 4.1 yards a carry was a bit below league average, but he contributed 24 catches. He's an absolute freaking machine, just a bulldog. He's got every bit of dog in his bones, which might be his downfall, the fact that he runs so damn hard, as if he's actively trying to run through brick walls at any chance he gets. So I give you all that. You say what in terms of the number 2 guy?
In looking at it again, I know I talked about Scatterbo being my 1A here, but I think, too, I'm going to have to go with Gadsden. And I think it's because we're talking steal, right? So I'm looking anything 4th round and up. So it's a 5th round pick that is making a tremendous impact and can be the tremendous impact for the next decade. And that's in a position where if you strike gold and you have an all-pro quarterback in Herbert, you're set. And that's where you look at a guy like DK, where it's all-pro status, going to break records, what have you, but he's in a role that is sometimes phased in and sometimes phased out in terms of returner. And I know he's playing on offense, but you sometimes don't know how that translates exactly. I've seen it here with Devin Hester, right? The greatest returner of all time. Offensively, it just didn't work. It depends on the coach. And I think, too, that is the biggest argument with that, too. Your situation and coaching matters. So as good as Scatterbo is, right, he's in New York with a dumpster fire of an organization right now. When you're with the Chargers and you got Harbaugh and structure and a quarterback that's set for the next 10 years, you could have had a 1st-round pick or a free agent as a tight end. But your organization is good enough to understand the value in the 5th round and get a guy like Gadsden.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to not go with him as well, especially being a 5th rounder. But again, the only reason I'm going with DK here is because, yes, 4th rounder. Yes, he's not been like any kind of godsend as a receiver in a just pitiful Titans offense. But when we're talking about a guy who's 4th rounder later and he is a front runner as an all-pro at any position in any regard, like, come on, I got to take that. And again, special teams, the importance there and his value as a returner, setting the offense up with good field position. When you're averaging 26 yards a punt return, you're doing your job to set up the offense for nothing but success. And the offense is just dog shit and completely failing that. He's got the touchdowns. And so, I mean, and when you're talking about potentially setting an NFL record and doing something that no one's done since Saquon Barkley, I think there's enough there. Again, I know it's a little bit not, an offense or defense, but again, special teams can win or lose you games, man. And he's been so impactful for Tennessee. And I just find it impossible for him to not get all pro honors at the end of the season. So for 4th rounder, I'm giving it to him. I'm going him for the all-pro honors. He's going to potentially set an NFL record for all-purpose yards. That's no joke. That's some Devin Hester stuff. And we all know how everybody talks about Devin Hester. Gold jacket, Canton, and it's not because of what he did as a receiver. It's because of purely what he did as a returner. And the Titans seem to have found their own version of that. And so I want to be able to give that. I think it deserves some credit, some due for his contributions. But yeah, Scatterbo or Gadsden, those are very fair, both of them. And I think people will probably be mad, like, how can you not say Scatterbo? All right, but why don't we go to the flip side of this coin? What's up next?
Flip side, who are our flops from this draft? Rookie flops, and there's a decent chunk of them, but who is not living up to their expectations here as a rookie? I know it's hard to make an impact sometimes, but when you're picked that high, the expectations are there, and you're supposed to produce.
Yeah, well, this one seems pretty easy, doesn't it? We got, for me, we can go through the names. Like, we can talk about Matthew Golden. We can talk about Travis Hunter. We can talk about a few other guys on this list. But when we're talking Abdul Carter of the New York Giants, a top 3 pick with 1.5 sacks. Now he's going viral image of him sleeping during film sessions. He's getting benched for tardiness. He's got Giants legend Lawrence Taylor calling his ass out saying, let's wake up. This is what you like spent your whole life for. Like, wake up, man. I guess in the film room and on the field. But and then you got teammates saying he needs to grow up as well. So when you're a top 3 pick, boy, this is bad. When you're falling asleep, this is bad. You no production. You're getting blasted by your teammates, blasted by team legends, and you're getting benched. I mean, that is as bad as it gets. So I'm going to go him, and another name we could, of course, throw out there is Shamar Stewart. That's been another tragedy from the get-go because with the whole contract thing off the jump with the Bengals, it took forever for him to finally agree. The whole talk, maybe I'll go back to Texas A&M and all that stuff. And now he's barely played. I think he's got 2 tackles, 0 sacks on the year. Granted, he's been hurt, but, he's missed most of the season due to injury. So it's hard for me to, be like, oh, you're the biggest flop. I can't – I'm not going to sit here and blame guys for getting hurt. Like, that's not their fault. But when he has been on the field, he has sucked. Well, you got a guy that's not Abdul Carter you're thinking of?
No, it's Abdul Carter. I mean, Shamar Stewart could be up there, and I think it's because of how the year started. But Matthew Golden doesn't deserve it because it's a schematic issue, not a player issue in terms of getting him the ball. I think Abdul Carter is the big one here because I'm going back to what I just said with Scadaboo. It matters where you go. And I remember this when Jalen Carter, another Carter, was on the draft board, and the Bears were in position to draft him.
Thank God.
But the argument in Chicago on all the shows was the Bears aren't strong enough as an organization to properly support Carter because they didn't have the infrastructure for a controversial guy to get the best out of him. Whereas in Philly, from the president to the GM to the coach and down, they have a structure there that could support Jalen Carter, get him on the right track, and get the best out of him where now you're seeing as one of the top DNs in the league. So this is an issue now with Abdul Carter in New York. They have a mess of themselves on organizations. Excuse me, they've made a mess of their own organization. And that's what happens to then the best player. They're not supported. They're not coached properly. They're not getting the right messaging from veterans, from alumni, whoever it may be in that organization, even the security guard for all I care. It's dysfunctional. And when that happens, and you have a guy that talented, but with that bad of an attitude or that bad of motivation, it suffers, and you can't get the best out of him. And you got to find him a new home or revamp the whole organization to get what's out of him. I mean, we just talked about it with the Seahawks fan. Think about Sam Darnold. He literally in a press conference, I still can't believe he said it when Connor mentioned it, about seeing ghosts. Like, that was his MO. I'm seeing ghosts with New York. It's bad. Now, and even last year, he played as a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. Change of scenery matters. Coaching and organizational support matter. And in this case, Carter has his issues, but he's being failed by his organization.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all very good points. I mean, and I think the only guy who can compete with Carter because of, again, the organization and what they gave up to go and get him is the Travis Hunter situation, right? The Browns moved back 3 spots to trade with the Jaguars. The Browns received the number 5 pick, the second round pick, number 36, a 4th round pick, and a 2026 first rounder from the Jags. So the Jags can move up to number 2 then to draft Travis Hunter, which it's been a total disaster. It took them up until right before he got hurt, essentially, just to figure out how to even use him at all on offense. They've nowhere near understood how to maximize his involvement on either side of the ball. So they've got damn near nothing out of him in that sense. He's ultimately made very little impact. Now he's out for the seasons. The Jags gave up an arm and a leg to go up and get him, completely misuse him, or I guess barely even use him for that matter. So that one's hurt. When you consider the draft capital given up, it's not Travis Hunter's fault that they gave up that, but in terms of like rookie seasons that are being total flops, like Travis Hunter was supposed to be like a generational type of two-way player that, like a Shohei Ohtani. We don't see this. It doesn't happen. Those are really high expectations. And in the NFL, there's a very good reason why it doesn't happen. And these are the greatest athletes in the world that I'm sure many of them could play both sides. But that one's tough. And again, Matthew Golden, again, I'm not going to do it. He's been hurt. It's far more schematic problem because when he gets looks in the Packers offense, he does very well with it. He's been solid. Anytime the ball touches his hands, a good thing is happening. Anytime they throw it his way, it's generally speaking a good thing has happened. It's been downright confusing how in the living hell Savion Williams, who's been fine, but he's drafted in the back half of the draft as a receiver out of TCU. When you draft Golden in the first round, first time you draft a receiver in round 1 since 2002, and then you barely use this guy in favor of a late round pick receiver who's getting more tread on offense than Golden somehow. It's never made sense. And then when the Packers use Golden, half the time it's for something at the line of scrimmage or a swing pass. Not letting him leverage and utilize his talents has just not made any sense. So now, no touchdowns, and of course, this chart comes out where Matthew Golden falls on this chart of first-round receivers since 2010 without a receiving touchdown through the first 11 weeks. Your guy is on there, Kevin White. You want to talk about bust. Oh, my.
Oof.
Whoa. I was
bad.
terrified when they drafted him, too. I was like, damn, this guy's a stud. And whoa, we were all wrong. But so he's on a list with Kevin White, Nelson Aguilar, Devontae Parker, Jahan Dotson, Laquan Treadwell, Corey Davis, another huge bust. Mike Williams is the only respectable name on this list. John Ross, N'Keal Harry, another huge one. Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, and Treylon Burke. This list sucks. You don't want to be on that list with any of those dudes. And Matthew Golden is on that list because the Packers have no idea what to do with him on offense. It's just been a weird season.
And the Bears had two of those. Kevin White, and then they signed N'Keal Harry in his later years. And
I'm surprised N'Keal Harry never worked out either because he was out of New England quick. I mean, I still have a lot of faith in Golden. I think the Packers are going to have a shakeup in the wide receiver room this offseason. They gave Christian Watson money. I love Romeo Doubs. I think he'll be gone. Obviously, Jaden Reed. I don't know what they do with Wicks. They got a lot of bodies in there, so it's going to be hard for him to really stand out and get utilized, but I think you got to. And now he's hurt. So again, I'm not banging on the hurt guy. That's pause. I'm not going to knock him because he's hurt. But Shamar Stewart, I think, is kind of back up. But yeah, I think we agree here. It's Abdul Carter. Pathetic. Just pathetic top to bottom from him at this point. And fans are vocally also pissed about what he's done. What's next?
Sticking in the NFL, AFC South suddenly is up for grabs. Colts had that hot start, and then they dropped 3 out of 4. And Sauce is hurt. Daniel Jones' leg injury. Tough remaining schedule. And here come the Jaguars. And now both teams are 8-4 in this division. What are we making of the AFC South here? Who's going to take it? And can the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence finally live up to their potential? Or can the Colts get magically healthy and keep this hot streak going?
I'm going to go out and say it. The Colts are not winning the AFC South. I think there's a scenario where they finish third in the AFC
That's
South.
Crazy.
The Jaguars are trending up. The Texans are trending up, and they have the best defense in football is just lights out, can win you a football game, even if your offense scores 14 points. So the Colts, and Jags are both 8-4. They're squaring up this week. They have another matchup down the road, but then the Colts have Seattle, San Francisco, like I said, Jacksonville again, and Houston's defense. There's a world in which the Colts could lose every single one of those games. The Jaguars have the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL. They're only allowing 82 rush yards a game, so the Colts' most dominant weapon, Jonathan Taylor, is kind of, might have some problems.
Neutralized,
Jonathan Taylor, yeah. And if he's got problems, and Daniel Jones has got a leg injury that's clearly hindered his play, and it's still Daniel Jones. I think a lot of people were hesitant to really buy in, besides the Colts, who traded 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, who's now also hurt. So I think the Colts are going in the wrong direction. I think this is going to end poorly for them. I mean, seriously, Seattle, that could easily be a loss. San Francisco could be a loss. Jacksonville twice. Or Jacksonville at all could be a loss. And then Houston could be a loss. They could lose the rest of these games. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, I still am not a Trevor Lawrence believer by any stretch of the imagination. He's playing his best football right now in the season, despite, he's barely passing for 200 yards. His last game, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's still got the turnover problems. He's committing turnovers like a son of a bitch. But Denver improving. Jets defense are really the Denver defense, and the improving Jets defense are really the only 2 good defenses left for the Jaguars to face. And they got the Titans the end of the season. So I'm sitting here thinking the Jags are for sure going to finish above the Colts. If I'm just looking at this on paper, Brenton Strange coming back from IR has been huge for the Jaguars offense. These 2 games back, he's got 8 catches, 138 yards, touchdown, been stretching the offense a bit. So I'm thinking, 1, Jaguars finish above. Honestly, I want to lean in and say, go all the way in, and that the Texans are going to finish above the Colts as well. I'm just going to say it. They got 7 wins. They're not far behind. Best defense in football. Stroud's back. They got the receiving games improved with Jaden Higgins coming alive now. The running game still is what it is. But like the Texans fan talked about when we had him on, like Nick Caley has been evolving that offense. The offensive line is doing a little bit better. But the offense has evolved to match the personnel a little bit, and it's helped them take off. We saw Davis Mills come in and pretty much save their season. And CJ Stroud comes back, and they rack up a win instantly against the Bills, right? They just played the Bills, was their last game Bills-Texans? Was that the November 20th? I think that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Bills-Texans, then it was Bills-Colts, and then Texans.
Colts. So that's the other thing. The Texans have split, or they beat the Jaguars already. So I think they're split. They have the Colts at the end of the season. They've already beat the Colts. So they got that leg up. They could finish tied. So I'm thinking Colts finish 3rd place. I'm thinking it's Jags Texans first, second in the AFC South. What are your thoughts?
And that's why it's so much fun having these divisional games at the end of the year, because especially in a year like this, I'm in agreement with you. I'd love for the Jags to get to the top because I always feel bad for them and they deserve better things. But I think it's the Texans. That defense that win the division. The Texans defense is that good and they're that well coached. And for Davis Mills to have, like you said, to just allow them to survive, to be in the hunt for when CJ Stroud came back is incredible. And it shows you how important your backup quarterback is. But this Texans team, I think, is the strongest out of the 3 because the Colts are unfortunately hurt, which they're just going to be limited. Daniel Jones is limited as is in movement, let alone with half a leg. So then now you look at it with the Jaguars, and the Jaguars are the Jaguars. So I think the Texans come out on top of this. And that's what's so much fun about this year, just looking at everything, right? If you look at all these divisions, right? Okay, AFC South, right? You got 3 teams in the hunt. Texans, Colts, Jags. AFC North, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals. They're all still fighting. Even the Bengals are in it with Burrow back, which is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got with the Bills and the Patriots fighting in the last couple spots there. In the NFC, it's closing out the AFC, Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, all alive. NFC, Eagles, Cowboys, Bears, Packers, Lions, Buccaneers, Panthers, Rams, Seahawks, Niners. There's not one division that says we have one team and everyone else has got 2 wins. There is so much parity that makes this so much fun, where you at least have 2 to 3 teams in every division still alive the first week of December. That's crazy. So that's what makes this AFC South one so much fun. If we talked 3 weeks ago, it's the Colts and nobody else. Now suddenly they're in a 3-team race for the division. That's awesome for us, not for the Colts fans. It's awesome for us.
No, you got to feel bad for the Colts fan. But to reiterate on your point here, it's been an incredible NFL season, maybe one of the best, right? Like the Broncos are on fire, but like, are people really buying into the Broncos as good as their defense is? Like, do you watch the Broncos and be like, absolutely, that's a Super Bowl winning team type of team right there? Then you got the Patriots, same thing. They're just winning everything. But again, do you watch them be like, they are so outright dominant, they can win it? As much as I believe in Drake May and the offense and everything, but like, again, are they that dominant? I don't think they're that dominant yet where I'm buying all the way in. The Jaguars, Chargers, Colts, Bills, all 8-4, all those teams, like, you're not buying, besides maybe the Bills because of Josh Allen. Like, it's really hard pressed for me to buy into any of those teams. And those are 8-4 teams right now.
Right.
And we just talked about the Colts could finish in last or in third of their division. The Chargers got Justin Herbert hurt now. Bad O-line. The defense is adjusting a little bit, and then you got the Bears are 9-3, winning like crazy. And then I think I saw a picture of the Super Bowl odds, and the Bears aren't even top 10.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy.
It's very baseball-y. It's like, get in the tournament, and it's anybody's chance to win. It's a weird year. You're not having the Chiefs that are like, up, here they go again, Chiefs. It's anybody. If you get hot, especially for one of these teams that gets lucky enough to win a division and they're a top seed, you play 2 games during the Super Bowl. Any one of these teams could beat any one of these teams 2 weeks in a row to make it. No question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, the Rams are probably, everyone's saying that's probably the most dominant team in football, and they friggin' lost to the Panthers. You say the same thing about the Packers. That, like, hey, this is probably one of the best teams. They lost to the Panthers too. I mean, shoot, the Seahawks, like Sam Darnold. I mean, it's hard to really, really trust Sam Darnold. It's just crazy. And the Eagles are just kind of in shambles right now. So it really feels on both sides so wide open. It's weird. No team feels overly overpowered, right? Jags have the best run defense in football. Texans have the best defense in football. The Patriots have the best core. It's all over the place on who has what, and no one's really just like over the top. It feels like it's so wide open. It's crazy. So I love it. Before we get into, I think, basketball next on the news desk, like, we got to shout out quick. LeBron James' streak of 1,297 games with 10 plus points is officially over, despite a game winner. He did not score 10 points and ended a streak and come to that. All records or all streaks must come to an end. Bust.
I'm kidding.
Let's get this guy on the bench. He sucks. All right, what's next? I think we got some basketball. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Chris Paul drama in LA. If you guys remember, Chris Paul signed with the Clippers for his farewell tour, where he gets to have fun, play basketball, hopefully compete, and then retire ceremoniously in June. Well, it got cut short at like 2 a.m. cut short, where he got released by the Clippers and wasn't on speaking terms with his coach, Tyronn Lue, and suddenly is out of the NBA, and what was supposed to be the swan song for the future Hall of Famer is now just cut loose, bad relationship with the team he chose to sign with, to retire with, and now is looking for employment.
Very wild, very weird. And all I'll say is Tyronn Lue coming out and saying that they don't think Chris Paul was a good fit for what they're looking for. I'm sorry. If CP3, I don't care what year in his career he is. I don't care that he's never won a ship. If CP3 isn't a good fit on your team, maybe it says more about your team and your team culture. It's pretty much that simple. James Harden was stunned, but hey, look, Chris Paul, as it stands now, his final shot of his career was a massive 3-point shot to cut a Clippers deficit to 33 points. So, hey, what a way to end it. What a way to go out, but just sucks, man. One of the silkiest, flashiest, just ball handlers I've ever seen play basketball. I remember him coming in. Then obviously you got the oop era with the alley-oop era with Blake Griffin in LA back in the day. I mean, just all-time great player. It seems so weird. Like, there's a spot on every roster in the NBA for Chris Paul, assuming you can afford. If you can afford him, I think every team would want to have him. He's still good. He's not a bad player. Is he maybe a little cursed just because he can't ever win a ring?
Kinda.
Sure. So I truly, genuinely hope he goes and signs with a legitimate contender, and I really want nothing more for him at this point than just go chase a ring. Go do it.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, maybe it's a blessing. I mean, go chase a ring. There's going to be a contender who's going to be interested, and I don't think he'll be sitting around too long unless he decides to just be like, all right, then I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
Done. So
it's just weird because you'd say, okay, if it got to a point like with Adam Thielen and the Vikings, right? They're like, we're not going anywhere. We're going to release you so you can chase a ring. Same with the Clippers. If we are having a bad year, all that, we'll let you go to chase a ring. This was like intentional. Like that's what didn't make sense. The fact that you have a player, one of your franchise's best players, come back to retire with your team, and he's suddenly not a good fit? Well, was he not a good fit before he signed and chose to be there with the coach he's now not talking to?
barely been there.
It just is fishy to where something must have happened where it was unsalvageable because it just doesn't make any sense. You're on a farewell tour with a team that is excited to retire your potential jersey, could be on a gift-giving swan song, whatever you want to call the ceremony, and then they're like, he's not a good fit anymore. We're done. Can you imagine? It's like Giannis coming back to the Bucks in 15 years, and they're like, on his last leg at 45, and they're like, sorry, we're not a good fit. He's not talking to ex-coach Junior, and it's just bananas.
Yeah, I didn't really understand Tyronn Lue's press conference either because, I mean, everyone's coming up and saying, they weren't really on speaking terms. And then you got Lue in his conference saying, I'm pretty sure he'll find something. He's a great player. He's, I didn't want to see it end like this. It's like, I don't.
What?
Yeah. What are we talking about? None of this makes sense. Chris Paul, somebody slept with somebody. I'll say it. That's it.
That's usually what happens.
Somebody slept with somebody. What's next?
Last one on our list for NBA here is going to your Milwaukee Bucks. So a report came out in Chicago today, where I am, from an actual credible source, that Giannis is everyone knows Giannis is exploring his options. That was all over ESPN today of trying to figure out his future. But then in Chicago, they reported he was inquiring about the Bulls, and the Bulls said, we're good. Thanks, though. Which is insane. So whether you want to take the validity of that or not, one, the Bulls are insane and stuck in basketball hell, and so that makes sense. They turned on a superstar. But what are the predictions for Giannis here, and you know it best, of where he'll go? Does he stay in Milwaukee? I know he's always loved Milwaukee. He's made that very clear. Mm-hmm. But there's also reality of he wants to keep winning, and are they willing to keep building around him as good as he is at 30? What's the next 5 to 10 year outlook?
I mean, the Bucks are not having a good start to their season. They're 10-13 as it stands now, and Giannis wants to be here. He wants to win a championship. It's been a rough start. They're 8-9 in the conference. They're 7-6 at home. They've been absolute trash on the road. They're 2-8 in their last 10. I mean, the thing that's weird here and what pisses me off with all of this, it's like Brian Windhorst and Shams exist only to drive a wedge between the Giannis and the Bucks. December 3rd, Brian Windhorst says he is already asked to be traded. December 4th, Brian Windhorst weighs in saying Giannis has not gone up and said, I want to be traded. Your job is an absolute joke. You are a clown if this is how you're going to report on back-to-back days. You just lose all credibility right out the door. Now, Giannis has always been like one of those guys that is very honest and direct and joking at the mic and whatever. And he's been kind of like quiet here on this one. But he's had teammates come out on their press conferences and say he's told us nothing but how much he loves being with us and being with this team and wants to be here. So I'm not worried about this. Like, this happens. I'm so numb to the Giannis rumors. They are so desperate. And I think the reason why they want it still is because right now he's averaging a career best 69.3% from the field. Like, he is still as valuable and as dominant and as elite as ever. These freaking frauds on my TV feel like they're on their last leg. They push them into a big market. I just, the Chicago thing's crazy. Whoever reported that, just hang it up, buddy. Like, you're done. That's comical. That's funny. If Giannis is going anywhere, we know damn well it's New York. Let's be very clear. It's going to be New York. Probably not even LA, because I think New York will be the closest thing to his family back overseas.
Yeah.
The quickest flight technically. So he's going to New York if anything were to happen. So Chicago, that's cute. But he just got hurt on
Chicago.
I'm sure you would.
I'll run the Bulls and trade for him. Whatever you want. They want to break up their young core. Young core, my ass. There's give everything. I'll take them.
Yeah,
it's an hour away. I'll come pick him up. It's easy.
Yeah. Drive him. I mean, hey, shoot. I don't know, but he's hurt now. He's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks with a non-contact injury. Obviously people are doing their speculation on that, which is also a crazy thing. But I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, it's certainly going to make teams take a pause, but it's still, when he's playing his best basketball at the age of 30, despite an injury, his draft or his trade compensation, what you're going to have to give up for him, has not gone quite down yet.
No.
Exactly. So it's like any other scenario is like, you're going to have to sacrifice. I hate this. I don't want draft picks. I do not want first round picks, because the Bucks moved all their first round picks. I don't really care to reinvest first round picks, especially when you're going to be getting like first round picks from the Knicks, who are not a bad basketball team. If you're getting first round picks for Giannis, those better be top 5 picks to make it worth it. I do not want first round picks in the back half of the first round for Giannis. So you better go out and clear house on that team's roster for Giannis. And so if he goes to the Knicks, it's like Brunson and Giannis, and you got what else? Because you had to pretty much send anything else back to Milwaukee. So I don't know how much teams are going to be willing to do that. And for the Bucks, it would be disappointing to see him go out and trade Giannis for first round picks that are going to be in the back half of the first round, which we know barely matter in the NBA. Hence why the Bucks traded all their first rounders to, go get Damian Lillard and go make moves. And I like the guys that the Bucks have. Ryan Rollins has been a phenomenal player. Kevin Porter, I really like what he's done. If he can just keep his freaking nose clean off the court, he's been really solid. And I like what the Bucks have. I think there's opportunity. I'm a little weirded out by how the season has gone. Wasn't really expecting to go at this, but I'm just not buying it, man. I'm just numb. I'm numb. I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't think anything's going to come of it. And that's me being hopefully as optimistic as I possibly can be at this point. But, apparently the rumor from Shams, different from Windhorse, is that, his agent and him have started having conversations with the Milwaukee Bucks about his future. It's like, didn't we just do this a month ago? 2 months ago? How is his future change in 2 months? It's
weird
just,
crystal ball, man.
It's like these guys, Shams and Windhorse, don't get paid a paycheck if they're not reporting on Giannis wanting to leave Milwaukee. That's what it feels like. It's been that way for 7 freaking years. I'm so sick and tired of it.
And I think you're right. I think there's a push, right? As national and global as the NBA is, it's not football. There's still that regional element to it. And I think there's a push still, whether it's Gretzky, LeBron, Giannis, where they want these guys in big cities and big markets. So when LeBron's in Cleveland, okay, they're great, whatever. But Miami, LA, okay, like now the league's happy. They get the sponsor dollars, they get the marketing. And Giannis is an anomaly because he is anti-diva. He loves Milwaukee, and he wants to win there and stay there. And it fits his personality. He likes a smaller vibe it's not that it's a small town, it's a big city, but it's not New York, right? So it fits what he wants and where he wants to be and who he wants to be. But I think there's a drive nationally of like, boy, if we could get Giannis in New York or LA or Chicago or Miami, the league will go crazy. It's like getting Luka in LA. I mean, Dallas is huge, but one step up to LA, it's Ghostbusters now. It's the biggest talking point. So I think there's probably a push in the NBA, especially now since Giannis is not in the back half of his career, but the next stage, 30 plus, that they go, boy, we'd love to see him in a big market and bring some more eyeballs to a team that needs more TV dollars, or they want more eyeballs on the finals, and it's going to be from watching Giannis in New York or watching Giannis in LA, which boosts everything for the league.
Yeah, and look, after he went down with the alleged non-contact injury, which I think he actually is hurt. I mean, props to the Bucks players. They came out after. I mean, they got the win after Giannis went down. Everyone came out and was saying the right things. It was a great response to all of this shit coming out. So good stuff on the players there. And again, there are guys out there that I would rather have for the next 10 years. That if the trade happens, that there's guys. I'm gonna butcher his name. Sengun, the Rockets guy who's 23 years old and he's just balling. I can't. How do you say his name? Alperen Sengun. He's Turkish. I have no idea how to say his name, so I'm sorry. I just know that the cat can freaking ball. So that's like a guy that I would love to see in Milwaukee if it costs Giannis. But again, I mean, maybe he goes to Golden State. Him and his homie Steph Curry. But I'm just so numb to this shit.
Have that conversation with me when he's 35 or 36. At 30,
yeah,
no way. Can't give up on him.
Well, I mean, there is a Milwaukee Bucks reporter that I like he's reporting that Milwaukee has also communicated that Giannis is untouchable. So, shocker. The guys, and then because you got other things that the Spurs and Bucks have discussed a Giannis trade in recent days, but there's a report that San Antonio has communicated that certain players that would likely need to get involved, not named. Why am I blanking on his name? Victor Wemby. There's players not named Wemby that would need to be involved that they have said they are not getting moved. They're untouchable. So I think that is also dead in the water. So I don't know. I ain't buying it. Fuck off. That's all. All right. Is that it? We've got everything?
That's your news desk.
All right. Great stuff, Joey. Hey,
bear down.
Stopping in. Go Pack. It's a big week. Oh, Joey and I are going to be at each other's throat next week. I mean,
can't wait.
Oh, boy.
It's the biggest Bear Packer game in at least 10 years.
This is a big one.
When both teams are good, normally you're good or we're good. Mostly you. Now, when they're both fighting for a spot, I mean, it's going to be a crazy 3 weeks here where they got at Lambeau, flex 325, week off, and then they play again at Soldier Field under the lights on Saturday. That's going to be crazy town.
Yep. Hold on. I want to get this guy's name right. It's really bugging the shit out of me. I want to know how to say it. Sengun. I'm not going to get it. Screw it. But yeah, my worry about this Packer Bear game is as rough as inefficient as Caleb Williams has been. He's an escape artist. It is so hard to bring him down. He's so damn fast, which thankfully we have a Micah Parsons, who is also a freaking gazelle. But Caleb Williams' escapability worries me. Extending plays is what really is going to worry me about this game, and then beating us with stuff over the middle of the field. That's where I'm a little nervous. Now, I think we'll be able to handle them. I think the Packers are walking away with a win. I think the Bears are running for 150 yards. I think Caleb probably has two. I think it's going to be like a 28-24 type of game. Packers win type of thing. But, I think either way, however this goes, I think they split the series this year. I just don't see one of these teams beating the other both times. They're both just – I was watching Film Watchers. He's a great channel. His kid sounds like Gruden, and the way he breaks down film is phenomenal. But he did a recent thing on Ben Johnson's offense and how he's designing the run game is just freaking incredible, man. So I think they're going to be able to break off some plays that are going to hurt to watch. But at the same point, I think the Packers will do the same. It should be a fun game. It should be a damn good game. And it's been a while since Rodgers owned the Bears. Jordan Love so far has owned the Bears. So.
But don't think that last game of the year last year meant nothing. I know everyone said that, and everyone wants to forget the Eberflus, Thomas Brown, whatever that was. But winning at Lambeau for the first time in 10 games was huge. Yeah. And it gives, for those guys that were there last year that are back this year, including Caleb Williams, it gives that little edge of, we can do this. And they're playing with house money now, already having 9 wins, so... It's going to be
I
fun.
I look forward to a gentleman's conversation next week, Joey. Until then, everybody, y'all be good. Have fun watching football this week. We got some good stuff in the works, so get cozy on the couch. Until next week, folks. Next Tuesday. We'll see you.